I'm gonna play Shadows of Saintfour. I already played that game, but unfortunately that game was deleted from my Twitch and I didn't have a time to post it to my YouTube, so that's why we will replay that 2 episodes now. You see, we played 2 episodes. 3rd episode is the next one. But we will just replay, yes, everything. Let's start. Wait. What is Romance Club? You will see that now. It's better to see than to tell. Second time already. Oh, I was so obsessed when I saw that. Like, I was so like, wow. That was really interesting. Hi, welcome. Okay. Shadows of Saintfour continues. Shape what happens next based on the choices you made before. Okay. Old Saintfour, Dead Zone. 2 men stood by the window looking out over Saintfour's most dangerous area, hidden deep in the woods. It was infested, buried beneath the petals of purple flowers. Mr. Howard, the magnetic field anomaly is off the charts. My instrument readings are wild. The scientist tapped frantically at his tablet. I'm not sure anyone could survive if they got close enough. I don't know what would happen to them. Mr. Hogwarts. I played too much Hogwarts Legacy, guys. 1 second. Mr. Howard touched at his collar and just said, or tugged, I don't know. Release them. Wow. I need to wow. Yes. Wow. With crisp, measured steps, Mr. Howard walked up to the window, then stopped triumphant before the bleak panorama. He did it. He did it. He went in. That's incredible. Now we will be able to... What is that? Is that coming from the tower? The man in the suit stepped back, straightened his lapels, and cast one last look out the window before leaving. Keep watching. The screams in the tower didn't stop. Yeah. The story contains depictions of severe psychological distress, body horror, hallucinations, and suicide. It also explores themes of forced mind control and deep emotional trauma. Please read on with caution. Some characters' behavior and statements may be unacceptable. They are required for the plot and do not reflect the author's views in any way. All events take place in an alternative universe. This content is not intended to offend anyone's views, faith, or beliefs. It is purely for entertainment purposes. You can keep the main character's original name or choose a different one. Nadine. Okay, let's keep this one. And choose main character, how she will look like. But first I will open the window because it's really, I can't breathe. Good. Okay. Type 1. Type 1 slender. Type 1 curvy. Type 2. I will choose type 2 100%. Type 2 already. Yes, let's go. We kind of have the same haircut now, you see? Really? Look. Kinda. Almost. Comfort. Back. This is not a haircut. This is how she looks like. What is she wearing? Oh, I already... Let's buy all... Or no? Okay, I like this one, to tell the truth. But also this one is cool. I already bought this one, but okay, let's buy all looks. Alright. All options have been added to your wardrobe. Choose what you will wear now. Really like this one. Okay, hair. Wow, very beautiful. I chose this one, I think. You know, I want really to buy everything. Why not to buy everything? Maybe today I want to buy everything. Really like this one too. Okay. Money. Yeah. All options have been added to your wardrobe. Which hairstyle? You know, I will wear this one. Continue. Do you use this same character and wardrobe for... No, not for all. Only for this one. Before the story begins, please set your preferences. I prefer male love interests, female love interests, male and female love interests. Male. Romantic relationships will be available with male characters and friendships with female characters. Choices in this story affect the plot and lead the heroine down different paths. You can enable hints, icons that help you stay on a specific path. Choices that improve romantic relationships will be marked with a heart. I want to... I don't remember... View hint icons. Make all choices to continue. This will affect the choices with the icon increases. With this icon increases courage. This one. Choice with this icon increases caution. Okay. Start. Choices. Relationships and romantic. Okay. What is enable? Enable. Let's Google. I need allow hints. Enable. Ah, yeah. All right, let's play with this time. Warnings about potentially triggering content may contain spoilers for the episode. I want to see trigger warnings. I don't want to see. Okay, let's not see trigger warnings. Let's not see. Your preferences have been saved. Once the story begins, you will not be able to change them. I want to start the story. Shadows of Saintfour 2, Timeless. Episode 1, The End of Light. Yeah, Shadows of Saintfour 2, like it's a second part, guys. So we have first part 2, and it was one of the coolest stories in Romance Club, still one of my favorite, and really like to play it. Maybe I will play it on Twitch one day again, because I played it in the past but never ended that story. Shadows of Saintfour, maybe I will play it too, we will see. But now let's read the second part. It's I think it will be interesting even if you didn't saw the first one. Yeah. New Saintfour. Please, just a few comments. Nadine trailed the sheriff like a shadow, notebook and pen at the ready. Shouldn't you be in school right now? This isn't the first time people have gone missing, is it? They disappeared in Old Saintfour? The sheriff dropped a folder with a new case onto the desk and lifted a tired gaze. Do you write for the school newspaper? That's right. Then go report on the nerds who cheated on their tests. The choice you make now will affect the course of the plot. Some choices cause minor changes, others lead to major ones. So stubborn. Accuse him of withholding information from the press. I'm not just a high schooler, I am an aspiring journalist, and you're withholding information. If you keep hiding things. The sheriff sighed heavily and rubbed his stubbled cheek. Will the name suffice? Suffice? How to read that? You will leave me alone after that deal? You have my word. Malcolm Brown. Nadine scribbled it into her notebook, so thrilled she almost bounced on her toes. Thank you so much. Some choices increase courage or caution. A courageous heroine takes more risks and pushes straight through. A cautious heroine speaks more gently and thinks several steps ahead. Now you get in here and take off that damned helmet. Nadine turned to see who he was talking to. A guy sat in the waiting area, slouched in a chair. He stood far too casually for someone the sheriff was expecting, then walked into the office. He stopped, hesitating for a second. Nadine had no idea he was looking her over through the dark visor. Only then did he take off his motorcycle helmet. Wow, we can choose! Last time, guys, I played, it was impossible to choose. Oh my god. Like, he was like... He looked like that. Okay. Let me look closer. It's important. It's very hard to tell the truth. I don't know. Oh my god, it's so hard. Most important part of the story. Yes, it's important. It's really hard. I don't know whom to choose now. my god. Like, why is it first version, first option? Because the first version of this character was this one. Why it's not the second one? Okay, his eyes are too strange, yes? Like your nickname, Aracas. His eyes are really too strange. Yes? Like, in real life, it's impossible to have guys with these eyes. I really like guys with dark eyes very much. His face, also interesting. Okay. Dex. No, I don't like him now. Oh my god, it's so hard. Or I like him. I don't know, to tell the truth. The second one reminds me of vampire guys like Twilight. Yes. It's so hard. Alright, let's try to read with him. Not bad, yeah? Not bad. I hope. Nadine, are you still here? I'm leaving. She awkwardly sidestepped the guy and hurried toward the exit. In the door's reflection, she noticed he was tracking her with a sideways glance, and she picked up her pace. Hardware and electronics. Oh, why am I reading it? Okay. Summer had only just ended, but Nadine was already shivering. Her boots slept confidently through puddles left by the recent rain. I already missed my first class, but that's fine. I need to make it to second period at least. Hello, Jefferson, welcome. She passed an electronics store where TVs in the display window were all broadcasting the news in sync. She stopped, then stepped back, returning to the storefront. On the screens flashed the face of Sydney Whitley, whose investigations and interviews had always been Nadine's gold standard. Nadine leaned in toward the window and nearly pressed her nose to the glass, peering at the screens. Sydney Whitley. Today, my guest is Nathaniel Howard, son of Benjamin Howard, founder of the Werla Corporation and currently head of its operations. Hello, Mr. Howard. Hello. Malfoy. He really looks like Malfoy. Okay. Benjamin Howard purchased the territory of Old Saintfour years after the city's mass evacuation. It was an unexpected decision, considering Old Saintfour had been consumed by the plague of the purple flowers. Tell me, Mr. Howard, did your father hope he could find a way to get rid of the weed? Let's just say it was one of many goals. And it is not just a weed. The purple flower turned out to be an incredibly resilient and dangerous species. How very noble. We hope you will be able to solve this mystery. So do I. Mr. Howard, how would you comment on the rumors that people are disappearing on your land, the so-called owls? For viewers who live outside the city, let me clarify. The term owls refers to people who illegally sneak into Old Saintfour in search of valuables left behind by the residents who fled in haste. Mr. Howard? I thought we were going to talk about Werlock's achievements in medicine. We will, but viewers are far more concerned about the missing people, you understand? Of course, but we have absolutely nothing to do with it. Of course, they could have died from the toxins the flowers release, but so far, no human bodies have been found on our property. Only animals. Now this is real journalism. Sydney caught him off guard. That's exactly how it's done. I doubt I'll ever be like Sydney, but Sydney's methods are pretty aggressive. I don't think they were aggressive. Okay, let's say she made good. Some choices increase image. With a high image stat, the heroine will be able to develop her journalism skills and achieve success. There was the roar of an engine, and then the short squeal of braking tires right behind her. So, do you like TV that much, or is it the young Howard's pretty face? Nadine turned toward the road and nervously brushed a few strands of hair off her face. She squinted, trying to make out the rider's eyes through the helmet's visor. I know you. You're in my friend's math class. And I know you. You are friends with the guy in my math class. Haha. Dex lifted the visor and looked her up and down, but his gaze held on the notebook, still clutched in her hand. Find out anything? I can't disclose that information. Got it. Then have a nice day. He lowered the visor and grabbed the leather handlebar grips. Some choices can improve your friendly and romantic relationships with other characters. Some choices can be purchased with diamonds. They grant access to exclusive scenes, unlock special outfits, or change how other characters feel about you. Try it now. Talk to him a little longer. Hey, wait. Yeah? Can you take that thing off? It's awkward to talk like this. Nadine couldn't see it, but she almost felt his smirk. To her surprise, he did as she asked and removed the helmet. Better? Yes. She tried to gather her thoughts, but with Dex watching her expression so closely, everything tangled in her head. Are you gonna stay quiet? You were a lot chattier with the sheriff. Why did they call you to the station? I can't disclose that information. Yes, I like this guy more than the first version. Like he's a bad guy. That's my line. So it is a line? Nah. Stop twisting things, I need to know. Dex swung off the motorcycle, kicked the stand down, and set his helmet on the seat. He turned to the young woman, closing the distance in few long strides. His leather jacket hugged his muscles, cracking with every movement in the cool air. A light breeze blew, carrying a trail of woody cologne. Fine, you won't mention me in your article if you write one. And I'm not sure I like it. Like, I don't know why like that. Okay. He grabbed her collar, firm but careful. Okay, careful maybe, yes. But anyway, I don't like it so much. And gave it a sharp tug as if straightening it. I wouldn't tell your caring friend you talked to me. Nadine slapped his hand away with a loud smack. Loud, I think. Loud smack. And what would be so bad about that? Dex shoved his hands in his pockets, lazily glanced around, and smiled crookedly. He won't like it. I can talk to anyone I want. Whatever you say, detective. He returned to the motorcycle, hopped on smoothly, and put his helmet back on. Nadine watched his every move, searching his gestures and words for an answer to the question that stuck in her head. But it came on its own. I have nothing to do with those guys disappearing, Nadine. He knows my name? Dex twisted the throttle and, with another roar, sped down the road toward the school. Nadine first headed to the newspaper office. Once she had practically had to chase down the principal to get the school to give her a tiny room where a single desk barely fit. After that small victory, the young journalist has proudly hung a sign on the door shelves of Saintfour newspaper office. Inside, her friend Rudy sat with his feet propped shamelessly on the desk. A basketball rested on a stack of gathered notes, crumpling the paper at the corners. Rudy. Unfortunately, they did not make the second version of him because, like, on the picture, he looked like nice, but here he doesn't look. He looks very strange. I don't know. He looks strange. Something is wrong with him. I don't know why. What is wrong? I mean, something is wrong with him. And he's pretty, of course, but I don't know. Something is wrong. Oh, I wouldn't be surprised if he fell asleep here. Startle him, scold him, and knock his feet down, throw the basket. Okay, the second variant is like... Maybe. She casually sweated his shin and swept his feet off the desk. No respect. A serene smile spread across Rudy's lips. He cracked one eye open, then sleepily looked around as he stretched. I've been waiting for you forever. Nadine shrugged off her backpack and flopped onto the chair beside him, exhausted. Why are you still in uniform? You didn't even show after practice? I will. Later. I wanted to check on you. Nadine looked around the office thoughtfully. Has Miranda stopped by? No. Weird, she's always here before I am. Did you manage to find anything out? Sure. She walked up to the evidence board. And wrote Malcolm Brown. Rudy stepped up behind her and stared at the name. Malcolm Brown, who is he? It looks like he's one of the missing owls. Rudy slowly shook his head like he was impressed and forlorn at the same time. Poof. Oi, poor sheriff, you are a real pain in the ass. He's not getting rid of you now. Nadine nudged his side. It's just a journalist doing her job, that's all. And now you had... And how'd you get it? And how had you get it, journalist? I annoyed him so much that he blurted it out just to make me leave. Rudy laughed again, bending over and looked at her from under his brows. God, I get him. Oh, by the way, smile is nice. Nadine rolled her eyes to keep from laughing in response. But you know what's weird? Dex was at the station. You two have classes together. Rudy frowned. He idly spun the ball on the tip of his finger. They called him in as a witness or as a suspect. Did you talk to him? He doesn't look happy. What do I say? Tell the truth, of course. Yes? He asked what I knew, and he said he has nothing to do with the owls going missing. Rudy slammed the ball onto the floor, rubbed smacking loudly against the boards, and Nadine jerked her head up, startled. Don't get involved with him. That's my personal deal, darling, with whom to talk. He was rarely so serious. Why? He is in trouble with the law. So he really is a suspect. Nadine. What? Just be careful, okay? Okay. Okay, let's chat with him a little bit more. How was the practice? Rudy had been playing basketball for as long as she could remember. As a kid, he was always outside with his dad shooting hoops. Then he shut up, growing so tall that little Nadine had to tilt her head back just to stick her tongue out at him. And when he got older, there were more girls around him. More than 2, it will be like 5 at least, I think. The sport did its job. He broadened through the shoulders, moved sharply and confidently. Whenever he walked through the school hallway, there were always whispers. The schoolgirls found 100 excuses to get into Rudy's line of sight, and they tried to strike up conversations with his best friend. But Nadine could read their ulterior motives from a mile away. I scored 30 points in scrimmage. Nice. Not really. I was feeling it today. I wasn't feeling it today. Okay. Nadine tossed an eraser at him. Save the bragging for the ladies you show off. Rudy laughed. He's always laughing with you. That's what Nadine once heard from one of his girlfriends. She could say the same about herself. Sometimes Rudy was unbearable, but without him around, Nadine wouldn't recognize herself anymore. Did you see Sydney Whitley's new interview? It was something else. Wait, when did you even have time to watch it? Rudy shrugged, smiling mysteriously. I have to watch to understand what you are talking about. Don't lie, or did my investigation finally get interesting? I've been offering you my help for ages. You turn everything into a joke. You are never serious. He leaned in and tightly flicked her on the nose. What can I do? It's how my mom made me. Miranda burst into the room. Her uncombed hair looked like a bird's nest, and her wrinkled clothes looked worn as if she had been wearing them since the previous evening. When she saw Rudy, she blushed and almost dropped her textbooks. Hi. Hi, you look great. Their friend didn't catch the sarcasm and blushed even harder. Rudy, get out. I won't get in your way. He winked at Miranda and, tossing the ball up into the air, walked out. Are you okay? Yes. Nadine stepped closer. Honestly? Miranda sat down, gripping the armrests with trembling hands. She said something, but it was so quiet Nadine couldn't make it out. What? I was in old Saintfour. More than 10 years ago, the old part of Saintfour started becoming overrun with toxic flowers. They tried burning them, poisoning them, and tearing them out, but the flowers kept growing. After Old Saintfour was sealed off, Warlock Corporation bought the land, and from then on, it was forbidden to go there. And anyone who broke the law, like the owls, either vanished or came back poisoned. Why did you go there, and with whom? With a guy. He said it would be cool and interesting. We are journalists after all. You... Why didn't you take me with you? It was kind of like a date, you know? Miranda flinched and stared at something over her friend's shoulder. Nadine turned wary. clouds rolled in over the city again, blotting out the already pale sun. The office grew darker. The corners of the room sank into shadows. Nadine stared into the corner, swallowed by darkness, and it felt like something was staring back. A chill ran down her spine from a cool, barely there draft, like someone's breath. "Stop it, you're freaking me out. Where were you looking?" "Nowhere, I imagined it." What happened in Old Saintfour?" "You have heard all the stories about ghosts, right? The ones about them wandering around there?" "Yeah, and they also say aliens landed there and are experimenting on people." Miranda nervously scratched her neck, something she always did when she was scared. "I think I saw something too." She hesitated before asking cautiously, "Have you ever been there?" "No, I would have told you. So what did you see?" "Hard to say. I felt it more than I saw it, and it hasn't gone away since, like he's following me." "He?" Miranda wanted to answer, but she looked over her friend's shoulder again. Nadine meant to turn around, but something in Miranda's terrified eyes kept her from moving. As soon as the bell rang, Miranda sprang up, took a few steps back, and forced a smile. "So, shall we go?" "Yeah." At the doorway, Nadine stopped. "Don't look!" A strained dread rose from somewhere in her throat and started pounding in her heart. Nadine slammed the door behind her without looking back at the dark corner, now emanating crypt-cold air. The sun completely vanished behind black clouds, and the school hallway sank into gloom. Sank into gloom. Students hurried to their classrooms, navigating the dimness a little awkwardly. Nadine glanced up at the ceiling and the dead lights. Power issues again. Lately, Saintfour had been dealing with frequent outages. Every home now kept candles on hand. Many people had bought generators. Miranda clung to her friend's arm, unusually sullen as she glanced around. "I hope she calms down and can tell me what really happened in Old Saintfour." "No lingering, move along." "Help me push the desks together. We don't have enough candles for everyone." The teacher closed the door behind them. The curtains were open, but daylight barely reached the room. "What about the generator?" "They should turn it on any minute now. Let's not waste time. Light these for now." She handed a student several candles. Nadine was about to head to her seat, but Mrs. Gilmore stopped her with a nervous, hurried gesture. No, you will sit in pairs. You will be with Darren." Hearing Mrs. Gilmore's words, Darren sighed and lazily lifted a finger, showing his classmate they were talking about him. "I wanted to sit with Miranda." "Yes, can we sit together?" "No, sit over there. Hurry up, ladies, we are already late." Nadine and Miranda traded sad looks and took their seats. Darren didn't even glance at his desk partner. Everyone thought he was a genius, destined for a brilliant future in physics. And Darren seemed convinced of his own excellence, too. Cold and a little antisocial, he rarely spoke to anyone at all. Big deal, a genius. Talk to him. Don't you think it's suspicious that the moment Warlock bought out Saintfour, the power started going out in New Saintfour? Darren shot her a glance without even turning his head, then just shrugged. Seriously? She gave up on trying to get him to talk. She flicked her lighter and brought it to the wick, but the flame licked her fingertip. With a quiet sigh, Nadine dropped it onto the desk. Let me. Yagami Light. I don't like him, his character already. He's like Yagami Light, like don't ignoring me. Nah. Darren took the lighter and lit the candle. Thanks. You're welcome. He is mean. He touched his sweater sleeves down and leaned back in his chair, watching Mrs. Gilmore bustle around with an icy stare. Talked. I think I should say talked. Tugged. Oh my god. Tugged. Okay. Finally, the teacher finished and announced the lecture topic. Today we will talk about imaginary time. Who knows what that is? Nadine opened her bag and rummaged through its contents. Did I forget my pencil? Darren held out a gold pen with an engraving. Here. Take it. Thanks, I'll give it back. You can keep it. The pen was weighty, cool with noble metal. It felt more like an antique than everyday stationery. Nadine gave Darren a quick once over. His perfectly pressed glass clearly cost more than her entire wardrobe. No wonder he let go of the pen so easily. Nadine, you're not taking notes. I suppose you already know everything? Imaginary time was formulated by Minkowski, Einstein's former teacher. He presented space and time as coordinates in a space-time continuum. To do that, he had to make the time coordinate image imaginary. But just because it's imaginary doesn't mean it doesn't exist for scientists. That's enough. No one doubt you knew it, Darren, but let me explain it more clearly for the rest of the class. Go ahead. I will never say to my teacher, like, go ahead. Like, especially if I'm at school or university or college. Like, yes, you can go ahead. She will make that decision. The teacher took a candle and went up to the board to write the formula. Nadine leaned toward Darren and whispered, Thanks. For the first time, he turned and looked at her. I heard you want to be a journalist. Wow, so Darren does take an interest in other people sometimes? Yes. Not many people our age have figured out what they want to do. If you're going to do it, try to be the best. Is that your personal motto? Darren stayed silent, and Nadine was already sure she wouldn't get an answer when he quietly responded, Maybe. It was hard for Mrs. Gilmore to write and hold the candle at the same time. In the end, she couldn't take it anymore and muttered under her breath as she set the candle down on the desk. Something must be wrong with the generator. It's impossible to study in this darkness. Class, wait here. I will find out what's going on and come back. The teacher left the room and Nadine turned to Miranda. What's wrong with you? She was holding her head in her hands, looking around furtively. Her face, twisted in terror, was partly hidden by her tousled hair. What do I do? Oh, go to her. Nadine stood. The chair screeched, drawing attention. Miranda flinched and sprang up too. Nadine managed to grab her by the hand, but Miranda shoved her away and ran into the hallway. Miranda! A surprised murmur rippled through the classroom. One guy even started to get up, about to peek out the door. When I see words I don't know, I will Google them. Murmur. Oh. Murmur. Okay. But Nadine beat him to it and hurried after her friend. Miranda! Her clear, confident voice rang through the corridor like a cannon shot. Nadine ran all the way down, still calling for her. She didn't worry about getting in trouble for making noise during class. At that moment, she only cared about Miranda. So lost and scared, she hadn't even asked for help. Something is wrong. Something definitely happened to her. And then the door leading to the women's restroom flew open. Nadine ran into Poppy and immediately stepped back, wrinkling her nose. Have you seen Miranda? Poppy locked her phone and tossed it into her purse. Do you mean your little shadow? That was how she always mocked Miranda for following her friend everything she went. Poppy rarely bothered to choose kind words. People all over the country followed her beauty blog, but what really gave her power over the town's teens was her gossip blog. And no matter what Poppy said, no matter how dishonest and dangerous her methods were for ditching up people's dirty secrets, Nadine didn't consider her a journalist. If anything, she couldn't stand Poppy and, out of principle, always called her by her full name, Penelope, as the teachers did. Miranda isn't a shadow, so... I didn't wrote it. Okay. So where is she, maybe, she asked. Poppy glanced back over her shoulder, a hint of sympathy on her face. Something seemed to have really rattled her. She's in the bathroom. Thanks. Poppy nodded and stepped aside, letting her through. Something scared your friend. She is so beautiful, by the way. Just as Megan Fox, yes. But Nadine didn't answer. She rushed into the restroom and slammed the door behind her. The only source of light vanished and darkness swallowed out even the outlines of objects. The silence was punctuated by the steady drip of water from a poorly sealed faucet. Nadine bumped into something, hissed into the dark, and pulled out her phone. Turn off the flashlight. Miranda? 3 stall doors stood in front of her. Nadine pushed the first one open. Empty. Miranda, are you in here? She took a step, hesitated. Then opened the second one. Whew. Whew. Nadine walked up to the third stall, ignoring the prickling goosebumps racing over her skin. If you're trying to scare me, I'm going to hit you. She yanked the handle, but it wouldn't budge. Miranda, open up! Nadine pressed her ear to the door, and muffled sobbing came from the other side. Did that old guy hurt you? You can tell me. No, that's not it. Then what is it? I'm scared. Right, she's afraid of the dark. A crash sounded outside and the lights flickered. The old bulb had burned out, but even so, everything was now visible. Look, the generator kicked in. Come on out. For a moment, there was only silence. Then slowly, with a rasping squeak, the latch slid back and a tear-streaked Miranda stepped out of the stale. Sorry, I guess my imagination ran wild. They hawked. Tell me, what happened in old Saintfour? Someone was there. Soldiers? No. Ghosts? She fell silent, thinking back. I saw people, maybe other owls, and something else. What? I don't know, I probably imagine it. She forced a shaky smile, smoothing the hysteria out of her voice. I just freaked myself out. Tell me, who is that old guy? I met him near the school. He doesn't go here, but he was waiting for someone. Noticing Nadine frown, she hurried to add, He's nice, really. Tell me, what did you see? Miranda hesitated, touching her neck. Nothing specific, just a shadow. Tell me, never mind, it doesn't matter. Okay, you're shaking. She gently took Miranda by the shoulders. Let's go. Thanks, Nadine. I hate it when the lights go out. Me too. Nadine let Miranda go ahead, then turned around, surrendering to an indistinct pull. Oh, fuck. Her face went numb with fear. Her breathing hitched. Nadine pressed her palms to her face and, a few seconds later, lowered them, finally pulling herself together. But whatever she had glimpsed in that stall was gone. Good enough. Next. Episode 2, The Evil Within. Okay, we will read it. The Evil... No, did not have a time to read it. Okay. Alarming Symptoms. Episode 2, okay? Okay. The young woman ran from her house, too terrified to scream. The cold air tore at her throat. The grass tapped at her bare feet. Leave me alone! She clenched her fingers around the swing's rope to keep from falling. Her knees buckled. Her body felt impossibly heavy. Exhaustion pressed down on her eyelids, dragging, I think I should read. I should check dragging. Dragging her towards sleep, but she couldn't give in. Seizing someone's gaze on her back, Miranda turned around, feeling haunted. He was standing right behind her. Oh, who is he? A sob caught in her throat. Her fingers slipped, letting her body drop. On all fours, Miranda crawled to a tree and hid behind the trunk as if it could protect her. "Go away, please." Her face gleamed with tears and feverish sweat. The silence beyond the tree was horrifying. Miranda... Sorry guys, again. She couldn't run for long, and now, pinned to the ground by her own weight, she couldn't even stand. Droplets of light from her bedroom window illuminated the grass nearby and touched her skin. They beckoned home the one who had barely escaped. "I can't get away. I will lock the door. One last chance to be saved. On 3, 1, 2... Squeezing the last of her strength from her muscles, she bottled and sprinted back to the house. Nadine woke up to persistent knocking at her door. "Are you still asleep? If you don't get up, I will eat your breakfast." Counting to 3, 1, 2... Nadine flung her bedroom door open. We will have to choose our bedroom. Okay, let's choose it. This one is very cute. This one is also good. I don't remember what I bought the last time. Let's see. Sweet and cozy, of course, I bought. Yeah, sweet and cozy. Her brothers first froze mid-air. Okay.
Mid-air.
Mid-air. Wait, mid-air, it's the same.
Mid-air.
Mid-air, I need to. Okay. His face lit up. What is that lit up? Ah.
Lit up.
Lit up. Okay. And crooked. What is crooked?
Crooked.
Crooked. I need to say crooked. Okay. Crooked. Crooked. Okay. Her brothers first froze mid-air. His face lit up with a crooked, slightly guilty smile. "Oh, so you are awake. And you... Why were you banging like that? Did something happen?" "No, I wanted you to look at this." In his hands was a fat stack of newspapers. He gave it a pleased shake and thrust in toward his sister's frowning face. "I picked them up from the print shop yesterday. I think they changed the paper." He helped his sister deliver printed copies of her newspaper to the neighbors and took the job very seriously. Mr. How to read that word? Mrs. Okay.
Pines.
Pines. Oh, okay. Mrs. Pines has been complaining forever that the last one was too thin. Mrs. Pines uses them to prop up her nightstands, Jimmy. She pulled the door partly closed, and in the narrowing gap, her brother's face lingered. For a moment, curious and a little confused. "I will get ready and come downstairs." Nadine passed the bathroom. She stared at her reflection for a long time before brushing out her tangled hair. Then she got dressed and left her room, still not fully awake. The kitchen was warm from cooking and it smelled like coffee. Dad stood by the stove making waffles, quietly humming to himself. "Here, you can have it. It's already cooled down." Nadine grabbed the coffee mug from Jimmy's hands and took a generous sip. "Where is Mom?" "She only fell asleep an hour ago." He set the last batch of waffles on the table, aromatic steam still rising from them. Nadine hurriedly grabbed her fork. "Migraines again." The man patted his pockets and looked around. "Looking for this?" Nadine picked up a laser tape measure from the table and handed it to her dad. He worked as an architect. He oversaw construction back in old Saintfour, and when new Saintfour had started spreading out, he began working overtime. But he could still provide for the family on his own. "I'm leaving in 15 minutes. Who needs a ride to school?" "Me, I just have to drop off the papers first." Jimmy slung his backpack onto his shoulders and hooked the stack of newspapers to his chest. "I'll walk today." Soon the house went quiet. Nadine ate the last bite of waffle off her fork and, before heading out, glanced through the window at the neighbor's house. Rudy's car was parked in the driveway. He clearly wasn't rushing to first period. He's probably going to skip his last class too, to practice before the game. Right, the game, I almost forgot. She unplugged her old camera, stuffed it into her backpack and stepped outside. Stepping off the lamp alone onto the sidewalk, she put on her headphones. Staying true to her taste, Nadine turned to, "This last time I decided to choose rock. But this time I want to choose pop." The music drowned out her thoughts as usual. Morning light slid in stripes across the road, seeping through the gaps between the houses. The world started moving to the rhythm of the melody, and Nadine began to walk to the beat. The first students were already arriving at school, but the newsroom was cold and empty. "Miranda isn't here again. That's not like her." Nadine pulled out her phone and opened her chat with her friend. The last time Miranda had been online was late at night. Calling would be faster. The music in her headphones switched to the calling tone. 1 ring, 2, 3, until the voicemail kicked in. "Hey, it's Miranda. I cannot answer right now, but I will definitely call you back later. You know, I want to change the outfit. Thanks for follow. Welcome. I want to change the outfit. To this one. Yeah. Leave a voicemail. "Hey Miranda, are you okay? You're not at school and after yesterday. Anyway, call me back when you can." Turning anxious thoughts over in her head, Nadine laid out her modest journalist's kit on the table, a camera and a notebook with a pen. Next came the roster lineup diagram Rudy had given her. Nadine leaned over it, dropping her head in her hands. She was trying to gather info before the game and prep for interviews with the players. But her head was empty and loud at the same time, nothing but static. Fine, I give up. For this task, I need corpse. Nadim walked up to the snack machine, her finger hovering over the selection buttons. And the world suddenly lurched. A handbag slung over a student's shoulder hit her headphones. They slipped sideways, letting a fragment of conversation leak into her ear. Come on, it was way too funny not to post. Nadine called after her, but Poppy kept walking down the half hole without even turning around. The face she made. Who's she talking about? Damn it. The music was still thumping dully in her other ear. Nadine yanked the headphones off completely and pulled her phone from her pocket. Fighting her disgust, she opened Poppy's blog and scrolled back to the previous day's post. So that's why Miranda didn't come in. On the bright glow on the screen, a Cream School video played, and there was Miranda, panicked, sprinting into the bathroom. The video was overexposed, shot with flash, but the subject's fear-warped face was painfully clear. I think it's not funny at all. Okay. Penelope! Nadim followed her into the classroom, trying to rein in her anger so her voice wouldn't shake. Inside, it smelled like chalk and perfume. Poppy was already by the window with a compact mirror, slowly, lazily tracing gloss over her lips. Yes, it's definitely... that... character... that... Transformers girl played, oh my god, Megan Fox. Definitely. Character from one movie. Don't remember the name of the movie. Nadine stepped in close enough to show up in the reflection. Are you lost? Ignoring her carefree tone and her friend's giggles behind her back wasn't easy. Delete this video. I don't know what are you talking about. Funny, you were literally talking about it a minute ago. Poppy spun around and snapped her compact shut. The click nearly blended with another sound from the halfway. A short camera shutter flick. Nadine turned. Why had she do that? A lens aimed at the girl's flesh in the shadows and vanished at once with its owner. Oh, you mean the Miranda video? She rubbed her hand cream into her palms, thinking it over like she couldn't care less. But it's already online. People watched it, forwarded it, and talked about it. Even if I delete it, it won't change anything. It will. You will stop being the source. It's just content, nothing personal. If you want to play hero, go comfort your friend and don't get in my face. Poppy brushed past her and Nadine stayed where she was, clenching her fingers until they went numb. She won't delete it, but what if I do? Poppy won't leave her phone unattended. I need to know how to read that.
Unattended.
Unattended. Oh. unattended. And it's definitely password protected. So the more absurd and unexpected, the better. Nadine turned toward the door like she was about to leave, but first she called over her shoulder. At least fix the typos in the caption under the video. Typos? There are barely any words. Exactly. Kinda embarrassing, right? Poppy unlocked her screen, scanned the lines fast, then snapped her eye back up at her classmate. You imagined it. You're missing a letter in darkness, don't you see it? I can't believe this is working. She walked up to the desk and jabbed a finger at the phone screen, then clamped it onto it with a death grip and yanked it hard enough that the phone slipped right out of Poppy's lotion-slick fingers. Nadine bottled out of the classroom. On adrenaline, she barely registered waving around clusters of students in the hall. She reached the bathroom, burst inside, and almost slipped on the wet tile. Oh! She dove into the last stall and secured the flimsy latch. Okay. The phone screen was already starting to dim, seconds from locking. Oh no. With a trembling finger, Nadine tapped the screen, deleted the blog post, and jumped at the bang of the bathroom door opening. Have you completely lost it? Get out! Here, Nadine! She slammed the first how to read that word? Stall. She slammed the first stall door so hard the hinges squealed. How to read that? Hinges. Gallery, I need to delete it there too. She also a little bit have a vibe of this Cassie and Cassie, her friend Euphoria, when she was like open the door. I don't remember her name. The blows got closer and closer to the stall Nadine had locked herself in. Now the deleted ones. Where are they? Bang, and Poppy finally reached her. Give me my phone back or I'm calling security and telling the whole school you're a thief. She pounded on the door in a frenzy while Nadine tried to navigate the unfamiliar interface. This is a chance to get revenge. I could post private photos or messages to her own blog. But that's what she would do, not me. Poppy suddenly went quiet. Instead of pounding, there was the scrape of metal. The young woman had wedged the tip of her nail file into the crack on the door and shifted the latch. And Nadine hit one last delete. Made it. The stall door flew wide open. Poppy snatched her phone out of her hands too roughly, since Nadine wasn't holding on anymore. You're not right in the head. Go see a doctor and take your little friend with you. Poppy's eyes flashed cold, then she turned to the mirror to fix her tousled hair. hair. Nadine shoved the stall door open and headed for the exit when she heard behind her a quiet voice. "You've got a teeth. You might actually go far." Before classes started, Nadine wanted to stop by the classroom where Miranda's mom taught literature. But the bell rang and turned the hallway into a chaotic current. After history, then. Nadine headed to the classroom and, almost at the door, caught up to a girl with a camera. She got it from Poppy last year, too. Maybe that's why she was photographing her revenge? The crowd swept them apart and Nadine lost sight of the weirdo. The entire lesson she kept texting Miranda, but the messages remained unanswered. When the lecture ended, she hurried to the literature classroom where the last student still hadn't left yet. "I'm not planning to apply next year." But you will at some point, won't you? You just haven't found your direction yet? Nadine stepped back from the door and hid behind the wall so as not to interrupt the conversation. She didn't hear Dex's answer. He had probably just stayed silent. But Mrs. Martinez didn't give up trying to get him to talk. "I'm just trying to help. You're coming to class less and less, and when you do, I only ever see the top of your head in the back row. School has become a place where you catch up on sleep. When you were younger, you didn't act like this. You stayed after class and asked me a million questions. Where did all of that go, Mr. Hawk? Dex, if you will allow me." Miranda's mom had always been the kind of person who believed everyone could be saved. Her love of classic literature had grown into faith in a happy ending, even when a situation looked hopeless at first glance. Mrs. Martinez was a romantic, but the world was often skeptical of her. "You wanted to give me extra credit assignments." "Of course, here. Turn it in next week so you can at least get a passing grade." "I will." Yeah, I doubt it. Heavy footsteps thudded toward the hallway, and Nadine shifted further back. "Eavesdropping?" Like there was anything to hear. "Do you need help with lit?" "Are you offering tutoring?" "If you pay me with info about the old town." "I don't have it, and I do not need a tutor." The second one I'm not surprised by. The first one, though. Dex exhaled slowly and shut his eyes for a moment. He had already stepped back to turn and leave, but for some reason he stopped. "All right, listen." His tired gaze swept the hallway, and then settled on Nadine. "Drop the old Saintfour stuff. That topic isn't for some high schooler. It's for people bigger than you. You're a student too, but from what I've heard, you're interested in it yourself." He glanced around again. It wasn't customary to talk about involvement with the owls, especially within school walls. Dex shoved his hands into his pockets and gave the slightest shake of his head. "You have got a big mouth." Journalists' instinct always tell the truth. "Always, you're an optimist." Down the hall, a vibrating rumble mixed with cheerful shouts. A guy shot out of the parting crowd on a skateboard. Look alive, people! Both approving and indignant cries of students followed him, and that reaction only spurred him on to pick up speed. Nadine didn't react right away. Dex did instantly. He caught her by the elbow and yanked her back to the wall, shielding her from the skateboarder with his body. The move was pure reflex, the way you save someone from a speeding car without thinking about who they are. You seriously can't be careful, can you? Nadine was trapped between the cold wall and Dex's body. The hallway shrank to a few inches, barely enough for air. Thanks. She lifted her eyes, clinging to the patches on the rough leather jacket in front of her, and met his dark gaze. A look filled with a muted, unreadable calm. Thought you weren't the skittish type. I'm not scared, I just wasn't expecting it. It's high school, expected, and keep your head on a swivel. Coming back to his senses, Dex slowly loosened his fingers on her elbow and tucked his hands back into his pockets. Yeah. Nadine left her skin tingle under other people's stares and looked into the crowd. The crowd was staring right back at her and Dex. The unlikely duo had grabbed their attention more than the skateboarder flying down the hall. Do we have your schedule written on our faces? The students Stired, I think. Stired. Stirred. The students stirred, hastily looking away and dragging their curious friends with them. But one person still lingered. Nadine expected her to pull out her phone or toss out a nasty comment, but she didn't. After standing there for a second, Poppy turned and followed everyone else, disappearing into one of the classrooms. I don't remember her ever posting about him on her blog. Nadine and Dex? I heard a commotion. You missed everything. Goodbye, Mrs. Martinez. Dex gave her a brief nod and left the school. Outside, a motorcycle rumbled low and immediately tore off. He is not an easy student. Did you need something, Nadine? Yes, I wanted to ask about Miranda. The teacher nodded and gestured her inside. I've called and texted, but she's not answering. Miranda isn't feeling well today. She hasn't even gotten out of bed. She wouldn't complain to her mom about the blog post. If a teacher got involved, Poppy would figure out a way to get revenge. So she's asleep. Almost certainly. Her worry eased a little. Now Nadine knew for sure Miranda was at home safe. And even if she was in a bad mood, that was less frightening than not knowing anything. I'll check on her after the game. You're a very good friend, Nadine. She headed for the door, adjusting her backpack strap, but the teacher stopped her halfway. I just remembered, I'm glad you came by. I wanted to give you a book to analyze for your elective speaking letters. The woman leaned over a desk buried under piles and notebooks, folders and loose papers. I just need to find it. What a mess. It's always like this at the start of the year. So much paperwork. Nadine let her gaze sweep across the desk and stopped on one slightly open folder. Inside, she caught a glimpse of a sheet with an image of something dark and vaguely familiar. An eye, scratched in graffiti, stared back at her. The folder was tied with a loosely knotted string and was sitting out in plain sight on Mrs. Martinez's desk. I'll try to offer to help, look and peek inside. Let me help. What does the book look like? It's very small, pocket size, red cover. Nadine lifted a couple of notebooks and at the same time hooked the edge of the folder. The knot came undone and the contents spilled out. Drawing. What is that? The shadow she thought she had seen in the bathroom suddenly took shape, messy and crude, clearly drawn in a hurry. Who drew this? Miranda, creepy, isn't it? A nasty chill crept up her spine, like someone had poured ice water down the back of her neck. You really shouldn't have seen that. Those are materials from the school psychologist. She hurriedly closed the folder and shoved it into the desk drawer, closing it so hurriedly she almost pinched her fingers. The psychologist asked Miranda to draw what her anxiety looks like, and this is what came out. And what did the psychologist say? That kind of image is very common. I didn't read the whole folder, I just got caught on the drawing. Mrs. Turner recommended a more specialized professional, so she handed Miranda's case off. Oh, here it is. The book she needed was lying right under the folder. Mrs. Martinez handed it to Nadine and patted her shoulder, not like a teacher but like someone closer. Miranda will be happy to see you. It's been hard for her lately. I'm glad you girls always stick together. Yeah, and thanks for the book. When the bell rang, Nadine left the classroom. The rest of her classes passed by as she thought of her friend. On the horrifying shape her anxiety had taken, the visits for the psychologist and the unanswered messages. It was all so unlike her. Her eternally bright image seemed to be dimming, exposing shadow Nadine had never suspected. Those thoughts didn't leave until the whistle signaled the start of the game. Now will be boring a little bit, really. That scene was boring for me last time. The game was between Saintfour High's team and a visiting team from the neighboring town. The stands roared, shaking from stomping feet and shouting. Nadine sat in the front row, trying to ignore the many-voiced rumble behind her. Her head moved from side to side, following the ball, her gaze tracking every pass as if glued to it. Her fingers flew over her notebook, recording dry stats, player numbers, points, timing. What foul! That was clean! As Captain Rudy immediately rushed to the referee to dispute the call. Nadine raised the recorder hanging around her neck to her lips and narrated loudly. The ref has called a foul. The crowd and the captain had noticed the visiting team's defender fake the fall. She used the recorder to capture emotional moments that would flesh out her report, make it sharper and more dynamic so the reader could feel like they were right in the middle of it. The fall stands. The visiting team is getting ready for a free throw. She lifted her camera to snap a few shots. Rudy ended up in frame. He reeled toward the stands and waved his arms, stirring up the crowd. The gym answered with stomping, packing the air with a vibration that could throw off the shot. And the free throw clinched off the rim. Yes! The captain's psychological intimidation strategy worked. Don't approve. That's not exactly fair play. After that little trick, Rudy threw even more adoring looks and squeals. But he didn't respond to the shouting, didn't pay attention to anything outside the game, and that only pulled the crowd in more. We are nearing the end of the second quarter. The tension in the stands is rising. Finally, the whistle blew and the halftime break began. Nadine leaned back, tired, and put her headphones on to shut out the noise around her. And then she suddenly felt someone tug at her recorder. He was saying something, but with the music on, Nadine couldn't make out his words. What? Say that again. We have been grinding under the hoop for 2 quarters, yet somehow you're the one who looks exhausted. I'm working too, you know. There is a whole bunch of you out there, and here is just me. You sound like our math teacher. He leaned his elbow on the railing, swept his gaze over the crowd, and winked at someone. Nadine shook her head and pointedly buried herself in her notes. I will fill you in later, details and all. And the whole article will be about what a great captain you are. Aren't I great? So far, I'm calling you this. She pushed her notebook right up to Rudy's face. Player number 3, yeah, I'm your favorite. Rudy, what are you doing over there? Locker room, move. The teams left the court. Cheerleaders poured onto the floor, their shiny pom-poms flashing. Nadine knew the routine by heart and barely watched. She clapped along half-heartedly, checking the time. The second half of the game was uneventful, but near the end the score tied up. Nadine didn't take the recorder away from her lips as she had already ditched the notebook. The ball dropped through the baskets more and more, and she couldn't keep up. The ball is with the captain. He is not passing. He is taking it himself. 9 seconds left. He breaks through the defense, goes up. The ball slipped through the net to the victorious roar of the stands. It's 74-72 for the Saintfour Wolves. Rudy threw his arms up in triumph and collapsed under a pile of hugs. Through the dense knot of bodies, Nadine caught his gaze, aimed straight at her. She mouthed, "Nice." The crowd started to disperse and Nadine hesitated, staring at the camera in her hands. What am I supposed to do about the interviews? She and Miranda had planned to do them together after the game, but without a second set of hands, it was impossible. Rudy could help. I will ask him to capture the interviews. She stepped onto the court, hung back a little, and waved Rudy over. Can you help me with something, Captain? Not player number 3 anymore. I'll call you whatever you want if you will hold the camera while I'll do interviews. Deal. Nadine showed him how to use the camera. She clipped on her lapel mic and stood with the second one on her hand, facing a crowd of loud, hyped-up players. Rudy gave her a light shove between the shoulder blades. Don't freeze up. You know how to yell. Nadine cleared her throat and cupped her hands like a megaphone. Who wants to tell the camera how many shots they made? Silence hung for a bit, then the crowd swarmed her. Everyone talked over each other, embellishing the facts. I'm telling you, the lane was wide open. Wide open? I had 2 guys on me. Nadine shot Rudy a helpless look through the lens, and when she turned back to the players, she jerked in surprise. One of them was inches away from her, grinning like he had won the lottery. You will write down that I pulled off the best combo, right? Ted, that wasn't you. Rudy couldn't take it anymore. He lowered the camera and stepped forward, tugging Nadine along with him. One at a time. Liam, you're up. Everyone else, wait your turn. Anyone who interrupts runs penalty laps at practice tomorrow. The gym got noticeably quieter. The waiting players dropped onto the bench. Liam, fingers still shaking with adrenaline, clipped off the mic. Rudy's face disappeared behind the camera and Nadine stepped into frame. Does he threaten you with penalty laps a lot, Liam? That's not an interview question. I didn't know you were a tyrant. No, Rudy is a good guy. Okay, I'm really bored. Me too, by the way. She pulled out her notebook with the list of questions she had prepared at home. She flipped past a few she had planned in case they lost. What moment from the game stands out to you the most? When I missed and then the guys grabbed the rebound and drove it in. It looked amazing, not because of me though. Does your team have any special pre-game rituals? Everyone's got their own. Me, I wear a lucky socks, and Michael listens to the same song on repeat before we go out. We're all kinda sick of it, no offense. After Liam, they called the next player, then another, until the bench was empty. Tired but happy, Rudy walked up to his friend and handed the camera back. I'll change and then I'll drive you home. I'm going to Miranda's. I'll walk, it's close. Rudy nodded and headed for the locker room, but Nadine called after him. So what should I call you in the article? Player number 3 works for me. By the time Nadine was nearing Miranda's house, it had started to drizzle. The sky grew heavy, swelling into a whipped gray mass. The air was saturated with the smell of wet earth. Nadine shivered and hurried to knock, but no one answered. She couldn't even hear footsteps. In the first floor windows, curtains lifted high in the draught. Behind them, a frozen silhouette flickered into view. She knocked again, more insistently. The silhouette jerked, swayed, and drifted toward the door. The lock turned reluctantly, the door cracked open, and only half a face appeared in the gap. Miranda? Good. Scare. Yeah, that's good. Why are you here? Her skin almost looked gray in the weak light, with a deep, painful-looking blue bruise settled beneath one eye. Nadine swallowed hard and tried to step over the threshold, but Miranda narrowed the gap sharply. I came to check on you. And to tell you I deleted the video of you from Poppy's blog. What video? Her voice was dry, indifferent, like she didn't even need an answer. She doesn't know. So you really are sick? Miranda didn't answer. She stepped back from the crack in the door, sinking deeper into the house's gloom. Can I come in? No. I want to help. She pressed on the door, opened it wider, and met resistance at once, unexpectedly strong for someone supposedly weakened by illness. She caught a sharp, sweetish smell seeping from inside and recoiled. The smell was frighteningly familiar, but she couldn't put her finger on a clear memory to match it. Go away. I'm not leaving you alone. I will wait until your mom gets home. Go away. But... Good. I said leave me alone! Miranda slammed the door. Nadine lingered on the porch for a moment, then hunched her shoulders and trudged home. That's her standing here. I didn't saw that. Wow. Hi. Hello, Fairuzan. I'm playing Shadows of Saintfour 2. Yeah. The rainy day bled into an equally rainy evening. All those hours, Nadine kept herself busy with tasks. She gathered all her game notes into a single report, added school news, and formatted it into one issue. She posted it on the website and managed to send it to the print shop before the end of the workday, so her brother could deliver the papers to the neighbors later. The second she finished, intrusive thoughts flooded in. Something heavy churned in her stomach, and she couldn't sit still. Mrs. Martinez has probably come back from work by now. She reached her phone, but Miranda's wan face flashed before her eyes. The vague sting of being told to leave had already dissolved. Now Nadine only felt that she had to be there. With her mom there, she won't dare kick me out. Instead of calling first, she pulled on dry clothes and headed downstairs. The two monks nodded together on the table. The unfinished tea inside had gone cold, covered over with a dull film. Mom, Jimmy? Nadine listened for sounds upstairs, but there was no answer. She quietly walked to the front door and took an umbrella from the shelf. You know, I haven't seen what this story looks like yet at all. Shadows of Saintfour first is an amazing story. The second part is kinda, I also like it. It's already the second episode I'm playing today. I will post it to my YouTube, so you will watch if you want. Maybe we will read the third episode too, but I'm not sure. Lighting flash beyond the glass. Привет, все хорошо. Как у тебя дела? Я тебе хочу позвонить в Дискорде и показать, что я сделала. И ты мне скажешь, как это. I'm excited to try it. I just finished Moonborn, so now I'm free to try something. Oh, you're so fast. That's cool. Lightning flashed beyond the glass, turning the hallway into a sequence of black and white frames. Давай тогда договоримся, может быть, я не знаю, когда. Не знаю, когда. Завтра? Завтра давай. With the next flash, it seemed to her like someone was standing outside the glass. Who is there? She froze, peering into the darkness, waiting for the next flash. Yes, my friend gifted me 20 teacups so I could finish it quickly in the timer. Oh, that's good. Lightning struck again, but that time the porch was empty. Nadine pressed close to the door, for some reason unable to make herself step outside. Yes, they are good. The sky split in half again. Just inches from her face, a shadow rose with its neck bent at a wrong, crooked angle. Nadine sprang back from the door and slammed her shoulder blades into the wall, knocking the air out of her lungs. Her legs buckled, her heart hammered up into her throat. The flash had already faded, but what she had seen burned itself into her retina. Every time she blinked, the broken silhouette scorched itself onto the backs of her eyelids, onto the walls, into the corners. So Nadine stopped blinking, forcing herself to stare through the glass, waiting in terror for the next lightning strike. But it was empty again. The light went out, and at the same time, something started pounding on the door. Hurry! Look at the extra deadbolt! With trembling fingers, Nadine found the chain and slid it into place with a metallic clack, then listened. The pounding grew harder, and through the roar of rain, a voice caught in. Please, open up! There was no silhouette on the other side of the door anymore, only the sheriff sucked through. Is there an adult home? He was frowning, and his eyes under those heavy brows looked sad. My mom. Go get her. The air suddenly turned sharp and thick, like it couldn't fit down her throat. Nadine frowned too, clenching her jaw as she swallowed bitter fear. What happened? I'll get her, but tell me first. Your friend, Miranda Martinez. She hung herself in her backyard. Wow. Wow. Fairuzan, I totally recommend you to read Shadows of Saintfour first part and then start second. There is no big spoilers here, but anyway. Let's read one more episode because today is a gaming stream only. We are playing only games. So if you're not scared to see spoilers, you can stay here. I don't know, if you only want, of course, because I'm very curious how her mom looks like. So really want to read one more episode. I'm alone today. There is no one who is sitting with me and listening to my reading. So I will come back. Okay. And I will read more. I'll be back. Okay, I'm here. Okay. It's a little bit hot today. Thank you so much. Let's start. The third episode. Shadows of Saintfour, episode 3, season 1. Even those who are gone forever leave their marks. So her best friend died now because she decided to go to the old Saintfour and she became crazy and she died. Let's play. Shadows of Saintfour 2. Shadows of Saintfour 2. Timeless. Episode 3. The Loss. That's a good idea. I miss my best friend so much. She's living on the other city. Nadine stood in the school restroom, leaning over the sink. Why you didn't call the mom? I think the mom is the character from the old Shadows of Saintfour 1. I feel it. I heard that rumor somewhere, I think. Maybe it's true. Nadine stood in the school restroom, leaning over the sink. She hadn't slept all night, and the morning now felt hazy and unreal. She wasn't crying anymore and could barely think about anything, stuck in a dull stupor, drained and feeling like a stranger to herself. Yes. Oh, that's good. Me too. I hope my best friend will start living at the same city with me. Then she raised her clouded gaze to her reflection. Sporty. Not bad. Wow, Japanese. Hogwarts Legacy, by the way. Preppy, also very beautiful. Like me in Hogwarts Legacy, I'm also Slytherin. Okay, let's keep this one. Black. Oi. Okay. Light brown. Everything is so... No, I don't want. Blonde. Red? No, I don't want red. I want blonde also. Wow. Looking good in blonde, everything. Oh, I love stories that let you choose your hair color. Me too. Oh. Everything is so beautiful. Spending too much money for this one. Choose the hair color that will appear in cutscenes. I don't know what hair color. Nah. I like blonde and black at the same time. Let's choose black. The hallway outside the door was quiet. Only the squeak of the janitor's cart broke the silence now and then. Nadine was skipping physics. She couldn't stand sitting beside Miranda's empty desk. She would keep turning around whenever she thought she caught a flick of Miranda's hair, or the turn of her head. On the cutscenes also changed based on her hair color. That's amazing. That's good, yeah. Of course I want to have like the hair color that I chose this time, but yeah. The teacher's question flew right past her, and the pitying looks made her feel sick. I shouldn't have come. Leaving class to go to the restroom didn't help either, because Miranda's presence felt almost tangible there. Nadine saw her everywhere, conjuring the visions herself and getting lost in them. The third stall. Why did you always choose that one? She cracked the door open and peeked inside, trying to spot something unusual. But nothing caught her eye. After standing there for a second, Nadine stepped into the stall and sat down on the closed toilet lid. She hid her face in her hands and, through her fingers, noticed something strange. The inside of the door was covered in fresh scratches, as if someone had been trying to claw their way out. She blinked a few times and then touched the fresh scratches and rough wood snagging unpleasantly at her fingertips. Suddenly, the overhead light began to flicker convulsively. And with a short click, it went out completely. Sorry, it's some music from the first old Saintfour. From the first Shadows of Saintfour. Kinda. That's so cool. Fairuzan, you can imagine. Like, old, like Shadows of Saintfour 1, that story is very old. And when I played it for the first time, I think it was like 4 years ago. Can you imagine what I feel now as a player? That's cool. And with a short click, it went out completely. Nadine gave a nervous shudder and reached for the latch. An uneasy feeling settled in her stomach, making her palms dumb and killing any desire to stay in the restroom. But the moment she grabbed the handle, someone walked in. The urge to leave was replaced by the need to become invisible. Nadine locked herself in again and climbed back onto the toilet lid, pulling her feet up. The tile carried the sound of someone's shuffling steps, making them louder. One step, another, getting closer. In the dim light of the lamps, a shadow appeared beneath the door. Then it stopped beside her stall. Why mine? All the others are empty. Something heavy pressed against the door. Someone threw their full weight against it. The door arced inward, then snapped back, until another blow struck it, then another. The flimsy latch began sliding along its groove, shifting farther aside with every impact. Nadine pressed her finger against the metal, keeping the door from opening. It felt like no one was on the other side, no one to call out to. Or should I try anyway? Hit the door back. Nadine pressed harder on the latch and slammed her fist against the door as another blow struck from the other side. Then she froze in fear, waiting for a response. And suddenly it all stopped. The silhouette disappeared. The restroom door slammed. Nadine let out a sigh of relief. Nadine pressed her ear to the door, feeling the hair on the back of her neck rise. Someone was waiting for her outside. Her nerves were stretched to their breaking point. Nadine stepped onto the toilet lid, trying to get a better look at the stranger. I'm sorry I scared you. She stopped short. The voice was unfamiliar, thin, and not hostile at all. There is no paper in the other stalls. If it's not too much trouble, could you pass me some, please? It also giving the vibes of the old Saintfour game. Me too. It's also the music from the old Saintfour. But it's changed. It changed. Yeah. That's so cute. It changed a little bit. Aha. Nadine opened the door and peeked out suspiciously. A student was standing outside. She gave an awkward smile and, gesturing, began to explain. But Nadine wasn't really listening. She silently surrendered the stall, her eyes fixed on the girl's frail, slender back. Could she really have been pounding like that? Where would that kind of strength come from? The stall door shut, but it wasn't the only one closed now. The first stall also wasn't empty. Nadine caught a glimpse of legs in heavy boots and noticed how abruptly they disappeared. Unease stirred in her chest again. I should... knock on the stall door. I want to do that. I don't know why. I'm panicking. Fighting the urge to leave, Nadine knocked on the door. Is everything okay? From the crack of the door came a dry, lifeless whisper. Knock, 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 knock. 12 gold hands upon the lock. hear them beating at the door, carrying fresh flesh and gore. Something on the other side gave a wet sob and gurgled, as if a foot had sunk into a swamp and was being pulled deeper, as if the mire were devouring it. Locks will tremble, lights will fade. Soon a killing will be made. Nadine went cold with terror and slowly began backing away. The gargling sound kept growling, spilling beyond the stall and following her. The wet sob came again, now rising from beneath the floor, vibrating onto her soles. The tile sagged, but Nadine was afraid to look down. Seconds slowly scratched into minutes, until finally, in a racked rhythm, the bell rang. The restroom door flew open, letting in a noisy group of girls. One of them firmly pushed open the door of that same stall. Wait, there is... And it opened without resistance. Someone is in there. Against all expectations, it was empty inside. The sounds behind the door had been a trick, and now Nadine felt stares directed at her. Confused, sympathetic, and curious, and all of them focused on her face. This is nonsense. Just nonsense. That's impossible. She backed away, bumped into the door handle behind her, and slipped out into the hallway. Nadine headed to the physics classroom to pick up her things. The hallways she could usually walk through with her eyes closed now felt like a maze. Students blurred into vague silhouettes, and nearby voices merged into an indistinct hum. What happened in the restroom quickly lost its importance, and as her heart tightened with pain again. Walking through the hallway alone felt terribly wrong. Without Miranda, it seemed foreign. Barely aware of where she was going, Nadine ran into someone tall. She muttered a quick apology, rubbing her eyes. "Are you looking for this?" "What?" Darren scanned her face, pressed his lips together, and held out a backpack. "They were locking the classroom, so I grabbed it for you." "Oh, thanks." She took her things without looking up at him. Nadine hated crying in front of people, but tears threatened to spill over and a stubborn lump stuck in her throat. Miranda seemed like a good person. Yes, she was. Nadine quickly turned and started to leave. "Wait. They are gathering all the students in the gym. The next class will start later." She knew what awaited her there and really didn't want to hurry. The crowded gym felt unusually quiet. The previous day there had been a game, the stands shaking with cheers, but just then it was hard to believe it. Hunched over, she stared at the single spot, the basketball hoop where Rudy Wood had sunk the winning shot in the final seconds. She remembered how happy he had been. Yes, Fairuzam, I was thinking about the same thing. I even don't want to think about it. That's really very sad. Now Rudy sat shoulder to shoulder with her, watching over her. Too hot? I'm fine. Her voice trembled, pushing the words out with effort. It didn't sound very convincing, and Rudy noticed. I'm fine, really. He was silent for a second, then he covered her clenched fist with his warm, heavy hand, gently forcing her fingers to relax. The microphone squealed unpleasantly in the principal's grip, echoing through the speakers. Yeah. Today is a difficult day for all of us. Our school has suffered an irreparable loss. Miranda Martinez, a senior, has tragically passed away. She was a bright, curious, and talented young woman. She had plans for her life, just like all of you. It's hard to find words that could comfort her loved ones and friends. Come here. Oh, he's a very nice friend. I don't understand what I don't like about him. Like maybe his lips should be a little bit less, like more little. I don't know. I feel that the person who made this character, who was painted him, that he or she made something wrong about I even don't know how to say. Something wrong about him. Maybe his head is too big for this body. I don't know. I don't understand. He's like missing color. Missing color too. He's very like pale. Yeah, pale. Like he's cute, beautiful, but something is wrong about him. He tapped his shoulder and Nadine leaned against him. Okay, let's do it. It's not only about colors, it's about proportions. Yes, proportions. Proportions of his face and body. Something is wrong with proportion, just a little bit. Rudy slid lower in his seat so his friend would be more comfortable. She settled her head into the curve of his shoulder and pressed the crown of her head against his neck. I don't know, something is wrong for me. Warm. And for the time being, Mrs. Martinez will be temporarily replaced by another teacher. Rudy's hair gently tickled her forehead, smelling like the familiar shampoo that always sat on his bathroom shelf. Sleep if you want. He is nice anyway. His voice was very quiet and low. Nadine didn't immediately catch the words. At first she felt them, the velvety vibration passing from Rudy's body straight into her cheek through his clothes. Yeah? Can you hear me? I don't know. Maybe his head is too big. Something is wrong with proportions, especially when he's looking at us. Yeah. Rudy slowly began stroking her palm with his thumb, still holding her hand in his. Being next to him made living through that day just a little easier. Nadine closed her eyes, feeling goosebumps crawl down her spine from the pleasant tickle. His neck is long. Really? The principal's words drifted through the speakers, but their meaning slipped away. He looks like a gigachad a little bit. Face is gigachad and body is a little bit small. I don't know. So loud. Rudy covered one of her ears with his hand and pressed the other closer to his shoulder. Now Nadine could barely hear anything. The hum of the innermost hole, the crackling microphone, and the creak of hundreds of shoes, everything faded to the lowest volume. Nothing remained except the warmth beside her, and it was the best medicine for her raw nerves. She didn't even notice that as she drifted to sleep, she instinctively curled up and pulled her legs in. Then she gripped his sweatshirt in her fingers and tucked it slightly toward herself like a blanket. Neck is big. Look at him. What's wrong with him? His chin is big. Yes, his chin. Look, his chin is big and like, you know, like Family Guy have. His Giga Chad jawline, and also, yes. Chin, yeah. That's really chin. Look. And also, it looks like he's making that. And lips are too big, maybe. I don't like him. Really, something is wrong with proportions. He doesn't exist. It's okay. No, really. Something is wrong with proportions here. Something is wrong. It's obvious. Like in real life, it can't look like this. In other words, he looks like a Kardashian. No. He looks like his chin is very strained and this thing under his chin. What's wrong? I don't know what's wrong with him. Okay. Why? Suddenly, someone behind them jerked their leg and accidentally kicked Nadine's seat. They are at school. Yeah, at school. High school. She jolted, realized her hand was resting on Rudy's stomach, and quickly pulled it away. An awkward silence hung in the air. It looks like it will be over soon. You can put your headphones on for now. His voice blended with the nearby whispers as the silence across the rows dissolved. So what actually happened to her? They say it was suicide. Apparently, she even left a note, something about a guy. Unrequited love? Don't listen, they don't know a damn thing. He turned toward the back row where the whispers were coming from and said louder. They are just running their mouths like always. Come on, Rudy, she was always kind of weird, wasn't she? Do you remember that video? Uh-huh. That time, Nadine turned around. The world in front of her pulsed and reddened. Oh, Nadine, sorry, didn't recognize you. If someone would say something bad about my best friend. I shouldn't have said that. Yeah, think twice next time. His face twisted into a mask of sympathy. Behind her, the microphone strained with words of condolence. Everything suddenly felt fake, hastily assembled to maintain the appearance of shared grief. Did you learn English playing a romance club? No. At school, like everyone. And even if that weren't truly the case, at that moment, Nadine could feel fury beginning to boil inside her. I don't want to talk with him. Stay silent. This isn't the time to put anyone in their place. Let them say whatever they want. I won't change the truth. Maybe I want to say something now. Okay. I really don't want to start these conversations. Practicing by playing Romance Club. Oh, kinda, but what really helped me to start speaking better is streaming. How many languages are you forced to learn in school? In Ireland, we have to learn French, English, and Irish to graduate. Russian language, English, and Tatar language. And also we tried to learn Chinese a little bit, but I don't remember nothing. Let them say whatever they want. It won't change the truth. Clenching her teeth, she stood up and made her way toward the exit between the rows. She shoved against the heavy doors and burst out of the hall, greedily gulping the damp air before running off without looking where she was going. Her breathing quickly grew uneven, and a sharp pain stabbed her chest. We were learning French in my college, but I don't remember nothing also. Nadine leaned against the cold brick wall at the corner of the school building. She titled her head back, and through a break in the clouds, suddenly saw a cigarette appear. One. This is, I think I will choose him. He is the one for me in this game. I think so, for now at least. Like, I'm gonna do love line with him. With a bad guy on a motorcycle. Yes, there are two versions of this man. If you will play, you will see that. And this is the second version. Because in the past they made another version with like yellow eyes. His eyes were yellow and the face was more cute. And then they made this version. When I played the first time, when I played that novel the first time, there were only a guy with a more cute face and lighter eyes. But this time I decided to choose him because I really like dark eyes much more. Me too. We have the same type. I know. 1. I don't smoke. Figures. Is that a bad thing in your opinion? No, the opposite. Thanks, if that was meant as a compliment. Dick slowly took a drag, keeping his eyes fixed on her irritated face. I know. Victor, he was interesting, but really, Max, he is still in my heart. Really. If you wanted some privacy, this clearly isn't the best place. His indifference caught her off guard. No condolences, not even a word about the tragedy. As if that morning were no different from the day before. Thought for him, it probably isn't. But there was something nice about that too. He won't politely comfort me or try to cheer me up. Which means with him I can speak honestly. The glowing ring on the cigarette was already creeping toward the filter. Maybe you should light another one. Are you worried about my help now? The corner of the young woman's mouth twitched, but her smile never fully formed, getting stuck halfway. Dex stopped out his cigarette before tossing it into the trash, then pulled a new one from the pack and leaned his shoulder against the wall. Nadine felt expectation hanging in the air. After all, she hadn't asked him to stay for nothing. That's why on the novels we can choose with whom we will with whom we will be. That's good that we have, yeah, different types of men. Nadine felt expectation hanging in the air. After all, she hadn't asked him to stay for nothing. Did you hear about what happened? The principal's speech had carried even outside the building. Dex nodded and turned away from her, releasing a thin stream of smoke. Oddly enough, it was in him that Nadine decided to confide what she had kept secret, even from those closest to her. Instead of love and comfort, she chose honesty. I think it was my fault. I was the last person who saw Miranda alive. Side or not, I had a chance to prevent it, but abandoned her. I left her alone. I suckled like a child when she drove me away. But I could have at least stayed on the porch or pushed my way inside and followed her in. What could she have done to me? She was weak, exhausted. She pressed her fingers hard into the brick and looked down at the flakes of cigarette ash. She crushed them onto her shawl, grinding them into powder. I saw that something was wrong with her, and I still left. If I had just stayed with her yesterday, none of this would have happened. And that basketball game, who even cares about it now? Why do I need to report on it if tomorrow I will be writing an obituary? The heat of anger flared inside her again, and that time it burned her too. One mistake on my end, and a person is gone. Miranda is gone. She felt silent. In the stillness that followed, even the crackle of the cigarette became audible. Dex stayed silent as well, his eyes slightly narrowed and fixed somewhere in the distance. It seemed like he didn't even plan to answer. Nadine shook her head, trying to chase the shameful heat from her face. She replayed everything she had said and beat painfully into her cheek. This is so sad that she blames herself. She's a student, so probably she's so young. What could she... Yes! Dummy, I shouldn't have opened up like that. But it's... Anyway... yeah. She nervously tugged at the strap of her backpack that kept slipping off her shoulder and pushed herself away from the hole. From the wall? Maybe. You're putting too much on yourself. I like him. Nadine spun around sharply. She locked her eyes onto his calm face, unable to hide her vulnerability. Are you mocking me? Dex titled his head in confusion. You stayed silent all this time, and now this is what you think to say? Well, you said a lot. That's not something you can respond to right away. I don't know what you mean by this, but I didn't mean to insult you. I'm just saying you are not all-powerful. Not everything in the world depends on you. You don't have all the cards in your hand to be responsible for someone else's life. If you didn't kill Miranda, then you are definitely not guilty of her death. Of course I didn't kill her. She awkwardly returned to her previous spot trying not to meet his eyes. Dex, however, seemed completely unaffected by her emotional outburst. After someone closed eyes, almost everyone regrets something. They didn't answer that last call, they didn't visit often enough, they said the wrong thing. People call it guilt because it's easier to control. You can focus on it, turn it around in your mind. As long as you're guilty, you're still part of the story. You keep fixing things in your head, saying the words you should have said, replaying the memories. But in reality, it's grief, not guilt. You will just have to get used to it. And you should stop judging yourself. Nadine looked at Dex in surprise, and he suddenly averted his gaze as if there were something inside him that he didn't mean for her to see. Now I understand why he stayed silent for so long. My speech was probably just as honest as his answer. Dex wasn't trying to comfort her. He simply said what he thought, no hidden intentions. And that was exactly what helped. Dex soon stopped out his cigarette and lingered by the young woman for a second. Me too. I'm sorry about your friend. Then, without waiting for an answer, he left. Inside the building, the bell rang faintly. The principal's speech had ended and classes resumed. But Nadine had no intention of going back. She felt she was needed somewhere else, and she hurried there. As she approached the main road, she noticed a luxurious black sedan pulling up to the curb. The heavily tinted windows reflected the simple school building, and the combination looked strangely wrong, as if two foreign objects had somehow ended up side by side. Darren was walking along the path toward the car. Watch him. Who is that? Darren moved confidently. I already don't remember who is Darren. His steady rhythm of steps, straightened shoulders, and gaze directed strictly forward. Not a single unnecessary gesture, no random turn of the head. Like a metronome. Nothing happening around him seemed to interest Darren. Otherwise, he would have surely noticed her standing nearby. Thought the sedan's windshield, Nadine spotted the driver, and in the passenger seat beside him was Mr. Bowie. Okay. He stared intently at his phone, frowning, but when he noticed his son, he got out of the car and walked toward him. On the way, he nodded toward the school, as if suggesting Darren turn back, but Darren shook his head and briefly responded. From the outside, they looked more like colleagues than close family, keeping their distance and exchanging restrained nods. Nadine knew little about the family, like most people in town. The Bowies always kept to themselves, living in a grand, expensive house hidden behind a tall fence. The head of the family was in charge of cybersecurity for some of the largest corporations, Warlock among them. Once Nadine had tried to get a few comments from him about working with that client, but it was pointless. Every question bounced off him like off a brick wall, and in that respect, Darren was just like his father. Ah, this guy. Okay. He's mean and smart. I don't like him. Too mean for me. He opened the rear door of the car, about to get in, but suddenly froze. It's strange that Darren even studies here instead of being sent to some elite boarding school. He rested his hand on the roof of the car. The movement was as precise as usual, but his fingers suddenly pressed into the metal. What is he looking at? It took her a few moments to focus and get the answer. Darren was looking straight at her. The distance between them seemed to vibrate and tighten, preventing either of them from stepping forward or backing away. Her first instinct was to look away, but Nadine stopped herself. It was too late. He had already noticed her. So she gave him a short, almost formal nod. Darren responded in kind and was about to get into the car, but he suddenly stopped and took a step toward his observer. Okay, have a nice evening. I hope you have the evening. Bye-bye. Thanks for being with me for some time. For a moment, Nadine believed he would approach her. But the sudden impulse seemed to disappear as quickly as it had appeared. Yeah, it's okay, it's okay. Bye-bye. With a detached shake of his head, the young man got into the car, and the polished sedan silently sped away into the distance. Was he going to come over to me? No, that's ridiculous. What reason would he have? Maybe it's not ridiculous. Miranda's house appeared around the corner as usual. At first glance, everything looked the same. The low fence, the winding path, and that tree in the yard. Nadine had never really noticed it before. It had always just been part of the scenery. But now it seems ominous, oppressive. Wide and motionless like a monument, it loomed over the lawn, stripped of the swing that had once hung from its curved branch. Nadine stepped closer and examined it. 2 deep grooves remained in the bark from the ropes. She and Miranda had spent their entire childhood in that yard, and that swing had been their favorite pastime. Nadine closed her eyes, and the memory of sunny summer days filled her with warmth. And then suddenly she felt cold. The temperature near the tree dropped, shifting from autumn chill into winter cold. Nadine shivered and looked around. Out of the corner of her eye, she caught movement from the house. A curtain on the first floor swayed as if someone had just looked out the window and disappeared. Mrs. Martinez. What must it be like for her to see this tree from the window now? Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. A chill ran down her spine. Letting out a long breath, Nadine knocked on the door. It opened immediately. Sheriff Wilson? What are you doing here? Official business. I was just leaving. Behind his shoulder appeared the hunched figure of the lady of the house. Nadine didn't recognize her right away. Hope flickered in Mrs. Martinez's eyes, barely perceptible and fleeting, then immediately went out. Because Nadine was clearly not Miranda. Hello. Meow. She was wearing the same clothes as the day before. Strands of hair had fallen loose and now hung in her face, but she didn't notice them. Are you cold? Come in quickly. I'll make you some tea. That's so sad. The sheriff gestured toward his car. Nadine, Mrs. Martinez, call me if you remember anything suspicious. He pulled his keys from his pocket and stepped over the threshold. Wait, I have a couple of questions. The sheriff reacted out of habit. He sighed heavily and twitched his mustache. That tone was very familiar to him. It foretold a storm of questions that wouldn't be easy to escape. But as soon as he glanced at the unhappy young woman, his face softened. "Go ahead, but keep in mind I might not be able to answer everything." "You don't mind either, Mrs. Martinez?" She shook her head, looking at the steam rising from the kettle. On the table, mugs full or hot water sat with tea bags still in them that no one had bothered to take out. "Well?" Standing in the doorway, the sheriff impatiently adjusted his hat. "Is this being investigated as a criminal case?" "We're considering all possible scenarios." "Did Miranda leave a note?" "I heard something at school. It's probably just a silly rumor, but I thought maybe she really did leave something." "No, there was no note. We didn't find any messages." "When did it happen?" "Sometime after 6 p.m. and before 7:30 p.m. Shortly before I came back." Her eyes suddenly went glassy and widened, seeing this memory. The memory. "It was so dark and rainy, I didn't even notice Miranda when I approached the house. I was surprised the door wasn't locked and I went inside. I put the groceries in the fridge. Then I cooked dinner, set the table and went upstairs. I thought she was napping, but the bed was empty. I searched the entire house before calling her, and I heard the ringtone coming from outside. All that time Miranda was there on the tree in the rain." "That's sad. Mrs. Martinez, I came to see Miranda a few hours before something was wrong with her. Something was troubling her. I wanted to wait for you, but Miranda insisted and listened. I'm very sorry. You are both just children. You didn't do anything wrong." "Did Miranda call anyone?" "I can't disclose all the details of the investigation, Nadine." "Ethan, he was the first number in her emergency contacts." Miranda's older brother, Ethan, lived and worked in another city. She had been planning to move in with him after graduation. Miranda called him at 6 p.m. and hung up immediately. After that, she didn't answer anymore. People don't reach for their phone if they have already made up their minds, Mr. Wilson. That sounds like the continuation of an old argument. We're not jumping to conclusions. Those actions may indicate hesitation before a decisive step or an attempt to say goodbye. But that doesn't mean we won't consider other possibilities. The woman shook her head and finally took the kettle off the stove. Nadine nodded to the sheriff. That's everything I wanted to ask, but... She stopped herself. Mrs. Martinez looked so broken that continuing the conversation in front of her felt cruel. Let me walk you out. The sheriff stopped by the railing and looked at her expectantly, turning the ring of keys in his hand. There's something I didn't mention. What if Miranda was deliberately gotten rid of? Nadine blurted it out so quickly that the sheriff had to mentally rewind her words. A schoolgirl? Gotten rid of? Nadine, no offense, but you need to get some sleep. You have been through a lot in the past 24 hours. No, you don't understand. Miranda was in the old town the day before it happened with some guy. I don't know his name or what he looks like, but you have far more resources for finding information. He could be involved or he might just know something. The sheriff thoughtfully chewed his lip and looked at the young woman with sympathy. I understand how hard this is for you. Grief often makes people search for outside causes. It doesn't let them come to terms with the fact that someone chose to live on their own. Bullying at school breaks people far more often than most care to admit. I know about that video with your friend. It's not about that. You're wrong. In this case, probably not. There is no point arguing with him. Do you want to add anything else? Nadine shook her head and after watching the man leave, went back into the house. Mrs. Martinez was sitting at the table slowly and rhythmically dipping a tea bag into a mug of hot water. Sweetheart, I just need 10 minutes just to sit in silence. Will you wait while I make some tea? Of course I could. Just go out into the yard and get some air, or go up to her room and take something for yourself. Anything. I don't think this is the right time. Oh, come on. There must be something good left for you to remember her by. Hello, Henry. All right, only... She walked over to the woman, touched the fingers clutching her tea bag, and gently pried them apart. No more tea. You should lie down and rest instead. Nadine led her to the couch and helped her lie down. I keep waiting for her to walk in at any second, toss her bag by the door, run to the fridge, and start telling me about her day. I know. What a nightmare. Nadine draped a blanket over her legs and tucked it in around the edges. The exhausted woman's breathing gradually evened out. Wake me when she gets home. That's so sad. Really. Everything in Miranda's room was frighteningly ordinary. The blanket was tossed back on the bed as if it were waiting for her to return and wrap herself in it again. Though there was still water left at the bottom of a glass on the nightstand. Nadine froze in the doorway, unable to bring herself to step farther inside. Her heart pounded madly. Her legs felt as heavy as lead. Henry, do you hear the music? It's Shadows of Saintfour 2. I'm playing. It's the second part of that game. Of that novel. It's stuffy in here. It's the music from the first part. Kinda. She forced herself to walk over the window and open it. When she turned around, she noticed something unfamiliar on the floor. Camera. Pick it up. It was a battered old camcorder that used tapes. She didn't have this before. The casing's dirty and there are scratches on the screen. I'm not sure Pisadera will be here. It looks like she brought it from old Saintfour. Before, Miranda used to film things on cassettes fairly often, then store the recordings in a showbox. Nadine crouched down to look under the bed. The colorful box was still there. I can't even remember the last time we opened it. She pulled the box toward her, took out a couple of tapes at random, along with a VHS adapter, and turned on the TV. It's been a long time since I've done this. Oh my god, oh my god. Press the play button. And yet, no, that's strange. I haven't even inserted the tape yet. Mrs. Martinez once left us instructions. This is the second part. These things happening after like kind of 20 years of, of the last story. I don't know where is the Bobby. She slid her finger under the TV and pulled out a worn scrap of paper with the steps written on it. Maybe in the future they will show him. Peering at the faded letters, she did everything exactly as it said. The static on the TV twitched, and finally a color image appeared. On one forward, on two backward. Two friends were very small and somehow managed to squeeze onto the narrow seat together. But sitting was boring, so they stood on the board with both feet. Back then it seemed that if they just tried a little harder, they'd be able to touch the fluffy clouds with the tips of their sneakers. 1, 2, 1, 2. The swing drifted through the air and laughter poured from the TV speakers. Rudy was behind the camera, telling the girls how to stand properly and shouting commentary which made the camera shake and wobble. Oh my god, I don't even remember this. She laughed and sobbed at the same time. Tears rolled down her wide smile. The video was short. As soon as it ended, Nadine inserted a new tape with trembling fingers. In that one, the girls were older. Miranda was clutching a hairbrush like a microphone and trying to keep a straight face. They had only just started their little newsroom back then and were learning how to conduct interviews. Mrs. Martinez, yesterday you dared to wear your t-shirt inside out. Tell us, was that some kind of protest or did you just forget to turn on the light while getting dressed? I'm flattered you noticed. I believe the division between the front and back sides of clothing is an outdated concept, so yes, it was a protest. But to be honest, the lights being off also contributed to the performance. When Miranda's face disappeared from the frame, Nadine looked into the box again. As she sorted through the tapes one by one, she noticed a glossy one at the edge that looked completely new. I've never seen this one before. That time, she inserted it into the adapter and, squinting, leaned closer to the screen. The picture was very dark. On the screen, Miranda was setting up the camera. She sat down in a chair and, out of habit, smoothed down her messy hair. She stared into the lens for a long time, as if gathering strength, her fingers twisted together in her lap. Her lips trembled, seized by a spasm. She tried to say something, but her mouth wouldn't open. Her body jerked sharply forward, trying to force the words out, swaying like a pendulum. Her gaze darted around in a panic. It seems as though someone had surrounded her in a tight circle and was now closing in. Miranda jerked her head, clawed at her face with both hands, and yanked sharply, trying to tear off something invisible. She let out a muffled moan and started to cry. The sounds were so helpless, like they were coming from the bottom of a deep well. No one would hear, no one would come. Help, help! The recording cut off. What was that? Barely breathing, Nadine restarted the video and leaned so close to the TV she was almost pressed against it. Behind Miranda, there seemed to be something dark and dense, but the screen's low brightness made the shape hard to make it out. The camera. She grabbed it, hoping to turn up the brightness there and open the tape compartment. That smell of the forest drifted out from inside, dry pine needles and fine debris spilling out. But beside them... Tape. Take it out. September 2017. On the paper label scrawled in black pen were the words September 2017. CMB. Miranda, maybe? Miranda M. It felt as though the recording had never been watched after filming. That was the camera's last video and it had remained locked away on the tape. Nadine inserted the tape. The screen filled with static. The image broke into pieces, distorted by interference. Oh, Henry, it's scary. It's scary, really. It was scary already. But through the chaos, she could make out silhouettes of people with rifles and something tall. It stopped reaching into the clouds. Heavy breathing, a low hum, and a frightened woman's scream could be heard. Nadine touched the screen, peering intently through the static, and suddenly the blur of color beneath her fingers began to spread. Будь здорова, you should say. Not на здоровье. Будь здорова. The distortion cleared, the lines sharpened and grew into something dark with an indistinct architecture. На здоровье, it means you are welcome. На здоровье, you are welcome. Like, and also it means like for health, be healthy, you're welcome. It's like the same thing, like you're welcome, be healthy. It's like, it means the same. At the same time, two things. Be healthy, you're welcome. You're welcome. And be healthy. Oi. Like, and when you say like be healthy, like for health. Let's say на здоровье, it's like for health. Like I'm giving that to you for health and you are welcome. That's for your health. And when you say be healthy, you should say будь, будь здорова. In Polish, it's like be healthy, yes. It's what we say in the Netherlands. Ah, really? Okay. I thought it's Russian. Ah, I'm sorry. Okay, Henry, no pressure to you anymore. The distortion cleared, the lines sharpened and grew into something dark with an indistinct architecture. Gesundheit. The current from the old screen suddenly bit at her fingers and Nadine jerked her hand back. But her gaze stayed glued to the image. From the depths of the screen, the tower's windows stared straight back at her. Interesting. All right. Not bad.